I want to kick off today's panel just giving everybody a bit of context on who you are and what you've built. So if you can just share about your community and its mission, who you serve, and really what inspired you to start it. And Kavit, let's start with you.
Sure. I've been building with Jay Shetty for the last 8 or 9 years now. And Circle's been such a big part of us at the Jay Shetty Certification School. So let's talk about that. Our community at the Jay Shetty Certification School is made up of people who want to change their lives by learning how to change the lives of others. We serve people that are purpose-driven. They're almost mid-career adults who are ready to build a coaching practice that is both meaningful and sustainable. When we started the school, we wanted to create a place where transformation wasn't just about theory. It had to be lived. It had to be supported. It had to be mentored and practiced within a real community. We wanted people to feel like they were joining a movement. And that is why we build the Jay Shetty Certification School and why Circle has been so beautifully supportive for us.
I love it. And it's already impacted thousands of people with more and more people joining every single coaching cohort. So it's amazing to see what you and the team have built.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Rachel, what about you? Tell us about your community, what you've built, and what inspired you to start it.
Yeah, thanks. First, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Well, I launched the Co-Creator Society. Actually, we did a beta this summer and we went all in and did a summit, and we have an app in the App Store and did all the things in the Circleverse because I, fangirl Circle. But we created the Co-Creator Society because we saw a need for a place for creative entrepreneurs to finally drop the solo grind mentality and really come into a space where they actually felt like they belonged. So we know that it's tiring to every day just kind of like mill away at it. So we want to develop a space where you could feel supported in your growth and get real collaborations. And to be honest, we know building a business is a whole lot easier when you've got people you can bounce ideas off of, team up with, or just like get a sanity check because you're overthinking something. I'm like queen of overthinking, and I needed a space where I could do it too. But that's really the heartbeat of everything that we do. And so we really believe in connection through a lot of different types of live events and workshops, coaching and hot seats, networking opportunities. But I mean, the real reason that I built it was that I just kept meeting really fantastic, brilliant creatives and community builders who were just building in isolation and second guessing themselves. And I wanted to get them a community where they really deserved. And so we created that space, a space where they can be seen and they can grow alongside other people. And it's definitely become like my favorite place on the internet, though I realize I'm likely biased. So yeah.
I love it. Well, that's our goal too. When we're building, we hopefully want to be building our favorite place on the internet so that other people want to come and hang out with us as well. I love hearing what you've built. Emiliana, what about you? Tell us about Pregna Hub.
So as you mentioned, I'm in the UK. So Pregna Hub is really centered around supporting expectant and new families throughout their pregnancy and postnatal recovery periods, all the way through to a year kind of post-birth up to their baby's first birthday. And the idea is that it provides them with accessible, inclusive education and real-time support. Oftentimes we'll find that people think they have to pay to make friends and get that education and support, which they do still pay through the Pregna Hub, but it's not the kind of prices that you would pay to have that in-person support, which just isn't accessible to everyone in a community. So our mission really is to close that inequality gap in maternity care by providing that trustworthy source of information in different formats that work for every family. So we really serve a hugely diverse range of community. And that goes from expectant parents, new parents, surrogacy parents through surrogacy, the birth partners, the wider family, anyone kind of in that parenting team that's coming through is really welcome in the community. So you can imagine it's trying to cater for many different people, but that's what we love about it, and Circle enables that for us. So very grateful for the platform.
I love that. I love that. Well, I am actually expecting right now. I'm expecting twins, and so like becoming a mom and expecting twins, you realize like there's a whole twin community out here of moms, and it's made me lean in, and I see why communities like Pregna Hub are so important, because when you're stepping into that new chapter of your life, you are automatically looking for community and people that have done it and that can give you advice. So I loved hearing all of your explanations, because they're rooted in such heart, and they're rooted in transformation and like true human connection. And you can tell how service is at the root of each one of your businesses, which right now it's an interesting conversation getting into AI, because you all have this like true heart and care for people and the way that you're building what you're building. And then there's this like, okay, how do we leverage AI in a way that still feels authentic and still feels aligned with your values as you're building out your community? So I'm curious, a lot of our survey respondents in the recent trends report, they said they're primarily using AI for things like content creation and data analysis. But I really want this session to uncover how community builders are taking it a step further. So when you think about the role of AI in community building, what excites you most and what still makes you perhaps a little bit cautious? And Kavit, let's start with you.
First of all, congratulations. That's amazing. I know you're expecting, but you just said it here like by the way, and I just want to take a moment to just congratulate you here. And I'm
Thank you
sure
very much.
so many people here will want to do that too. So I think a lot of people use AI as a task completer, something to simply help you complete tasks, writing copy, creating graphics, putting together ideas for TikTok, we're figuring out what content to create, writing the post that goes in the community. All these things are simply tasks, and we're mostly all using AI for tasks. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as the community leaders, I think we need to use the AI for strategy. I think we need to use the AI as a bouncing board to support us in making sure that we're truly creating the right strategy to serve people. So what really excites me is that AI can finally help us take care of all these tasks, so we have more time to focus on designing what is actually truly needed by the people that we're trying to serve. When you think about it, spiritually, we're all conscious beings, but psychologically, we all have identities. And the community is really a group of people that are coming together because they form belonging with those identities. And our job as community leaders, I believe, is to create as much understanding and awareness as possible about who those people are, what is important to them, what matters to them, what they're trying to achieve, what's getting in their way, so that we can solve that through the content we create ultimately.
Mhm.
And that's why I think AI is really useful, because it helps you really ideate to understand who those people are, figure out what it is that you need to go to. So yes, AI is super useful for personalizing support, responding quickly. We use it to surface the right resources. I love the Circle AI specifically for that. Our members can go into the platform and search for whatever they're looking for, and we've dropped the number of support tickets we've had to deal with simply because they're finding what they need faster. But I'm also cautious, obviously, because at the end of the day, what we're truly building is a human-led community. And a human-led community is built on the foundation of trust. And I'm not yet sure that AI can support that. In fact, I think it's creating more doubt and confusion and questions than it is actually invoking trust. And so I don't know that it can yet replace emotional intelligence and intuition. It can't be a relational partner. It can't make somebody feel valued. It can't really do the things that help you really open up to who you are, make your heart softer, make your mind stronger. I don't think it can do those things. And so I don't think we are currently using AI to replace connection, but we're using it to empower us so that we spend more time building connection. And so that's what I would say are the things that excite me about it, and the things that I feel most cautious about it as well.
Thank you. Yeah, very insightful. Seeing some people in the chat as well agreeing and really feeling kind of moved by that. Emiliana, what's your approach? Where are you at mentally when it comes to some of the positive uses of AI and some of the things you're still cautious about when it comes to the community space?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to Covet. Like, it's a perfect answer, I have to say. The added layer, the complexity we have is that there is quite a lot of medical information that is within our realm of support, and we don't claim to be medical advice on the app. We very much say that anyone who's worried about anything must go to their healthcare provider. But the AI side does allow us to scale information responsibly. And I love the Circle AI because you can teach it to say what you want it to say and nothing else, and then connect you with a human if any of the kind of flagged words come up. So that is such a huge positive for us with the way that the Circle AI works. So I think what most excites me is that personalized support to be able to be scaled to people who might not have been able to access it previously. And the world of Google is a very dangerous place when you're expecting a baby, because you will always find an answer that will worry you and scare you. So just having that connection to a human person once you've asked the question, if you need to speak to someone, then that's available through the platform. So yeah, the caution really is around similar to Covet in terms of avoiding losing trust with people. So it's a very fine line at the moment, but I do think that we're treading it quite well at the moment.
Yeah. Rachel, what about you? Anything additional to add?
I look at AI as my companion inside my community. So for us, we've leveraged the AI features inside Circle to help people consume courses and large amounts of content so that it frees up time for them to actually come and attend things with us and have that connection with us. Though it's definitely a balance, and we don't want to. That's the thing that always worries me is that we're kind of dripping it out in doses and getting feedback of how much is it being used. But I think one of the most interesting things I love about, in particular, the AI features in Circle is be able to grab that data of what people were asking, what people were looking for, and it really allows us to mold our content calendar around what our community members maybe aren't just completely vocally telling us that they want, but we kind of, are able to gather that data and just give them really the experience they're looking for inside. But yes, you both said it quite well. I have a lot of the same. I do worry that it just will take away from that heart that I want to like hold for everyone.
Mm-hmm. You all have mentioned too, like your communities are really rooted in a lot of connection, a lot of heart, a lot of soul. How do you balance integrating AI into the member experience so that it doesn't break that trust? Like how do you transparently communicate with your members? This is how we're using AI so that they know, like, is there an aspect of being really transparent and really open with it so that they know when to come to you and when to go to, let's say, an AI agent or a chat buddy? I'm just curious how you navigate the way that you talk about how you're using AI with your members. And Rachel, you're already off mute, so let's have you go first.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what I just said that I mean, I'm very transparent about how we utilize our AI agent, that it is a companion to like, we do like member intensives that are kind of like group activities for a period of time. And it's like your buddy, right? So that in between our coaching sessions and our hot seats and those sort of things, you aren't just kind of left in limbo, or maybe because we have members that are across the globe and I'm located in Eastern Standard Time, but it's a way for you to like get Rachel's brain because I built our AI as like a mold of all the information that came from me that you can access some information, right? Like right away. And you don't have to necessarily like rely on me, which I want to be there for all of my community members, but there's a balance, right? Because there's almost so much finite time in the day. And so I am very clear that it's like the assistant to help you navigate, but you always got me, and I'm the one who shows up and leads all of our calls inside of our community. I find that to be very important for me. So that's kind of how I balance. I just tell them what we use it for.
Great. I love it. Honesty is key. Kavit, I'd love to hear how you and the team navigate this as well, because I know that you use your AI agent for something very specific. Can you talk about how you communicate this to your coaches in training in the community?
Yeah. When you say we use it very specific, what are you talking about?
Like for the support AI agent.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think the most important thing was what we just heard, which is that it is a balance. As creators or as companies, we want to get in and use AI as much as we can. We hear about it all the time, all day long. We're looking for, like, my entire LinkedIn feed is essentially all AI. Every type of person being an expert about integrating AI into your business. And whilst I'm excited about it, I do think there's a pace and a speed that has to be met because our customers aren't as excited about it as we are. They're not looking to, like, hey, let's go to a coaching company and use all their AI tools. That's not what they're thinking. So I think what we need to do is figure out how AI removes the friction so that more time can be spent on human activities. And by that, I mean, our activity and our focus as a team should be to deepen connection. We're trying to understand as much as possible about every single person that walks through our company. And the only way we can do that is if we actually have time. And most of the time, unfortunately, as you grow in a company, just ends up in like the scaffolding, right? Like just taking care of logistics and like technology and documents and all this kind of stuff that just pulls your most important people away from engaging with other important people. And so I think it's a balancing act. I think there's like a pace that needs to be found. And that comes from all what we've heard so far, which is really, can we take the right steps, get the feedback, see how people are using it? If they're using it, can we develop it further? If they're not using it, can we just turn our attention to something else? At the same time, I think, it's really hard to change somebody's habit. And so if somebody for the last, like, we found this when our students are so used to just emailing our support department and they know that we respond extremely quickly, they know that we're trying to help them get to their goal, they know that we're able to point them to the resources that matter as quickly as possible, they become dependent on this idea of just emailing a human being. And so to try to train them to start using Circle AI, which is what we call our coach helper or our student helper, to try to like find the module you're looking for, find the piece of content. And we have hundreds of hours of content. So for for them to start using that is definitely a learning curve that needs to be taken there. And one of the things we do is just try to mention it as much as possible. I think really in our live cohorts, in our weekly sessions, through our newsletters, we're trying our best to mention it as much as possible. We have found that it has worked and it's reducing the number of people that email in support, but people still email in support, that they just want a human to support them. And that's what I talk about when it comes to pace.
Yeah. Really great point of view on pacing, and also you're kind of giving optionality to the different types of folks in your community. So there are folks that would prefer to go to an AI chatbot, get an answer really quickly, and then move on. And then there are, again, you're optimizing for folks that want to email into support, even if it takes 8 hours for them to respond, depending on time zones. There's always going to be that preference, but you're able to kind of, I would say, give both types of members the ability to engage with support how they want to.
Every community, doesn't matter how large they are, every community has members that are extremely fanatic, and every community also has members that are lurkers. These are the silent people that don't say anything, but are actually getting value out of your product. They just don't want to speak up. They come to Zoom meetings or circle events and they don't say anything. They will listen in the background, take in all their notes. They're not engaged. They're just engaged in a way that suits their nature. And so maybe they don't want to engage with human beings. Maybe what they actually want is just to engage with the AI to help them find what they want faster. And so that's another type of profile that we try to design for, because people are like that.
Emiliana, anything to add?
Just briefly, really, in terms of kind of making sure that we're balancing the authenticity, but also making the benefits of the automation and the AI side, is that every member will always get a message from me, a bit like Rachel mentioned as well, at the beginning, as soon as they sign up and they're in. But then Alma is what we've named our chatbot. It's like a digital doula, and we're very clear it's digital, but it has a name and it has a cute little logo that looks like a robot but has a face, and like it's kind of having that balance of looks nice, looks approachable, but I know it's not a real person. But yes, they will be able to give me answers quickly. So we find people use both and it really is dependent on what they want and the speed of what they want.
I know I've been seeing a lot of just in the Circle context, a lot of folks using Circle's AI agents, and they're kind of creating their own mini brands for that AI agent. So they have a name to what you said. They kind of have their own personality, if you will. So it's interesting to see members really engage with that and love that, and some members don't want to use it. Again, it's giving just another feature, if you will, to the community without it becoming a requirement. I know that personalization is becoming a big promise of AI. We see it all the time, like how AI is going to help us become more personalized. I'm curious how you're using it to create experiences that feel more tailored to your community as it grows. Are there specific examples that come to mind where you're leveraging personalization to make it feel more custom? Emiliana, let's start with you.
It would certainly pick up kind of the types of questions. We're trying to pick up the types of questions that are being asked, and so that when they're getting their responses, we're typing in kind of what flag words they might be asking, so that when we do respond with perhaps an automated response, it's the right one for them. Obviously, this is evolving, and we're just having to monitor everything as we go. But certainly in terms of the maternity pathways, we're looking at how we can localize to each individual hospital across the UK, and there's 120 of them. We haven't done this yet. We're starting with one, and that's launching next month. But being able to automate or at least make sure that every single hospital trust has their very own version of a chatbot, and the pathways available in terms of care and support in a local area is going to be incredible.
That's amazing. And can you talk about how you're rolling that out like bit by bit? Because I do think that sometimes we, with AI, we can say, okay, we need to apply it to everything all at once, but it sounds like you're almost doing a beta version before you roll it out extensively.
Yes, so we're calling it a pilot, and it's in my local area, we're in my local hospital because I know it well, so it makes sense to do that rather than somewhere really far away. And I'm creating, the content within the app and the teaching the AI bot all of the locally relevant information for that hospital trust, and then we'll be getting local users to test it. I'm going pretty old-fashioned marketing and going to be putting posters up around the town, but really connecting people with the app that way through QR codes. But then once they're on, they're going to get obviously the full experience of getting tailored support to their local area.
Thank you for sharing that. Rachel, on your end, any ways that you're leveraging AI for personalization, making it feel more focused on the community member?
Not in my own community, but in one of my clients' communities, my HANA, we've done something similar. So we have two things. So that community has two distinct populations. One are caregivers of those in the IDD space. So think autism and Down syndrome. And then we have the aging population, caregivers of those folks. And so over there, we've done two things that have they've gone really well. One we have just in a pilot right now, but we call them roadmaps. And we have actually used Circle's features to build out a roadmap where, our very first question when they kick off with the agent is, what's the name of the person you're caring for? How old are they? And then based on all the responses, we start delving out information that lives inside our resource library spaces inside our Circle community. And then they can come back to it and they can ask it a new question. And we've set up follow-up questions, and we specifically have that one set up to refer to the person's name that is being cared for and the person who's asking the questions. And that has gone, it's really cool. I totally nerd out to it. We just put it into pilot on Monday, and we have had such great response. We didn't even ask for feedback, and it's been rolling in. But also there on our IDB side, we have disability planning by state. So each state, we have searched and gotten all appropriate links for waivers, how to sign up for Medicare, Social Security, you name it. It's a really huge lift for a parent to navigate a child who has these extra bonuses, as we like to call them in our house. My son is on the spectrum, so the project is very heart centered to me. And it was one of the biggest hurdles that we kind of like had when we first started down our journey with Colton, was like, what do we do next? And so we have built the AI to help parents like myself know what to do next. Now, it's definitely, again, a balancing act, but that population in particular, they have real finite amount of time. So, the profile of the user there, they're not showing up for multiple events in the week. They don't have time for it. But they do have time at 2 a.m. when they can't sleep because they're upset or nervous about what's happened that day, to be able to pop in, ask some questions, and get instant access to information. So I think it really matters on the type of community you're running, right? Because that community is dramatically different than my own. And we've leveraged AI in such cool ways over there, that, we could obviously utilize that same pathway in different communities, but it's just a really neat community. It's called My Hana. I saw someone ask.
I think that when you're looking at your member profile, like who is my member, how much time do they have? And what are they looking for? And when they're coming into the community, how clear is it where they can find that information, where they can source that information? So I love that. And I love your heart for that. Kavit, what about you? Any ways that you're leveraging AI, maybe, whether it's circle features or not, but just ways to make the experience inside the Jay Shetty Certification School more personalized to each individual coach on their journey?
I think we could definitely be doing it better. I want to start there because I think it's such a large opportunity here. There's so much, like my dream would be to have hundreds of people that are coming through the school every month, each have their own personalized map journey. That depends on their timing, their ability, their stage of life, their phase and season, and their mood, what they're trying to achieve, where they'd like to go. If AI could somehow amalgamate all that stuff and then deliver to them the right content at the right time, that would be amazing. But we're not there yet. And how we do use it today is really just to find out where people are at. We have hundreds of people that are studying at the same time. Several thousand graduate every year. And in order to keep up with where they're stuck, are they moving at the right pace? What we've done over the years is measure how long it takes for somebody to get completed through a curriculum ultimately. And so our AI currently allows us to surface those insights. Hey, that person's a little bit behind. Let's reach out to them and find out what's happening. Or let's send a follow-up message to say, hey, this video still needs to be watched before we can unlock the next part of the curriculum. So we're doing these little things right now to try to personalize our attention to individuals. But I do believe definitely that we are getting there as a society, as technology evolves, to create a space where at the end of the day, our goal is that every student feels seen, supported, and accelerated. And right now, we're doing that with humans, and we're probably missing people along the way. But AI would allow us not to miss that. AI would allow us to listen in, get the intelligence, see it at scale, at speed, and then allow, as we've been talking about, our focus to remain on bringing the real human warmth that only us humans can deliver.
It's really, really cool to see how you're leveraging it in the programming of like noticing when someone might be a little bit behind, able to touch in. And that does feel like it is more personalized. It's coming from a human, even though you're leveraging AI to surface someone might be a couple weeks or a couple months off track. Speaking of things staying human, I'd love to hear any hot takes you feel comfortable sharing with, specifically as if AI becomes more capable. What do you believe in your heart that should stay human in community building, and what you're like, that can be automated? So I'm curious, like, are there certain things that you're like, this part, this has got to stay human, but this over here, I'm okay leveraging AI all day long for it. Who wants to go first? Kavit, you're already unmuted. Do you want to go first?
Oh, I just muted in case anybody else would like to share first. But I'm happy to kick us off. I definitely think we're a very long way away from robots. And so I think what the only thing that needs to that not the only thing, the thing that should most remain human is live events. Live in-person community that ultimately, when you build this momentum of a group of people online in a space in circle about a specific topic and a specific theme, and then there's so much momentum and energy and you bring them together in small spaces offline, that is the magic that cannot be replaced. That is the magic that uh, in reality, we should be spending all of our time creating and curating these communities. So when we move people offline, we have those most magical connections, which is why we're all here together in the first place. So I have more to share, but I just wanted to throw that in there, and we can always circle back.
Yeah, I love it. I got to actually be in the room. What was that, Kavit? It's been 2 months ago. The
Yeah,
J City.
September 19th. Yeah.
Yeah, almost to the day 2 months ago, the Jay Shetty Certification School had their first big IRL conference for their coaches, and I got to be there because Circle sponsored, and the energy there and the camaraderie and like the love that people had never met in real life before, but they had this deep connection from being online together. Maybe they were in a similar coaching cohort, and then they got to meet. Like, those moments are like true magic. So I agree, those cannot be replicated. Emiliana, what about you? I'm seeing you nodding. What do you think? What do you think like has to stay human?
Yeah, I think you talk about the in real life experiences. That's one of the things we want to do with this Pregna Hub local version, is connect people online, but take them offline ultimately, and get them meeting in person, and in pregnancy going for walks or just doing really simple like healthy things that are going to support their physical well-being and mental well-being, but making sure that they can do that easily online and find the information they need to have also that mental health support whenever they need it, any time of day. So yeah, I think definitely making sure that's available in a human way, but the repetitive admin, routing people to the right places quickly, that's always going to be great to be automated and off the table and not need someone to be doing that every day.
Rachel, what about you?
I think they both said it perfectly. I mean, it's definitely the events in the where you get to share the moments. Like, that's not going away. It can't go away. I mean, I don't know. I would be really unhappy if it did, I guess. But the admin lift, the things that kind of drive me nuts anyways that I have to do that are repetitive, yes, please take it. Take it away. Because it also like opens me up to be able to do more of the work I want to do. So that's kind of the only thing I really see is I love that part of AI, of being able to help me get to where I want to go faster. But it just it doesn't replace me, and it definitely doesn't replace my emotions or my feelings and my way of being able to hold space for people. So yeah, that's kind of it for me.
Yeah, I agree. Kavit, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, the only thing that comes to mind right now is that what we're trying to create with our community, and I think we're all trying to create with our communities, is an experience that makes it almost impossible to leave. And that experience is built out of two things. It's built out of, does that member get real value? Which means for what they're spending time, energy, money, resource on, are they getting to learn what they would like to learn? Are they moving forward in their pursuit? Are they moving closer to the ambition they have? Whatever that is. The other part of it is, how do they feel? Like, how do they feel being part of that space? Because you could go to many other coaching schools. You could go to many other circle platforms to learn this or learn that. And how you make somebody feel is something that we've been studying about hospitality a lot recently within our team. A few members are like, hey, this book is really trending right now. And it's been trending for a while. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality. I really recommend it to everybody here. If you haven't read it, read it. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality. And at the end of the day, if you think about walking into a Four Seasons, or if you've stayed at any one of those big fancy hotels, at the end of the day, they spend so much time and energy training their people to create moments of delight in their service, whatever it is, whatever challenge comes up, whatever problem shows up, whatever goal is that member is trying to achieve. Our job is to create those moments of delight. And whilst AI can surface where to create the moment of delight, like this student has got this far, or this student is blocked here, or this student is moving that way, or that member needs this help. At the end of the day, the moment of delight, the micro moment of delight, I think still needs to be delivered by a human. It could be a gentle email. It could be a phone call. It could be a WhatsApp message. It could be a nudge in some way, shape, or form. It could be a gift. It could be any kind of thing that is ultimately orchestrated by AI, because that is felt more than if I had a micro moment of delight that was sent to me by a robot or by an AI. And so I think we have that opportunity, because not everybody's ready to do in real life events, but absolutely everybody can do micro moments of delight.
I love that. I just added that to my TBR list. Thank you, Covet. I'm always looking for more books to read, especially in hospitality and ways to create more surprise and delight. That's fantastic. Last question for you all before we wrap this panel and invite Daisy Morris to the stage. I would love to hear what your vision is in 2026 for how AI plays a role. How does it make your community better, more connected? How does it make your members feel? Like, if you could sum up kind of where you're looking at implementing more AI, I'll be curious to hear where your focus is. And whoever wants to unmute and go first, feel free. If you know right away, take it away.
Laura mentioned it and I saw in the chat. You should all read The Power of Moments by the Heath brothers too, because it is fantastic and it's all about creating those like moments of like delight that help you like help with your member journey. I've done some podcast episodes. It's a fantastic book. Anyways, so add that to your list. For us in 2026, I'm going to hand you this in twofold. So with my client communities, we're going to be working on how to implement it and bring it in. How we're going to, because all of my client communities are larger and AI is a little scary for a lot of them just from the profile of like my clients. And so in 2026, we're going to start to teach them it's okay. That's our big push for most all of my clients. For my own community, we're going to try to leverage AI to help people get from point A to point B quicker in their businesses by showing them ways that we use it in our own business to, navigate those day-to-day tasks. Because it's actually really astonishing to me because I kind of jumped on the AI bandwagon immediately because I saw like just oh my gosh, I don't have to rewrite 8 emails anymore. I can just have this help me with it after I teach it to be me. Cool. So I think for me, when I started like asking people inside my own community, like how they used AI, and most of them don't use it, I thought, ooh, it's time to learn how to use AI inside your business. It's time to see some of the ways that we can help free up time for you to give you that space, especially with the profile of our members being predominantly solo entrepreneurs or tiny teams, just to give them more bandwidth so that they can actually go and create the thing that made them start that business because we get so bogged down in that busy work. So that's kind of how I see it working inside our communities going into next year.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Emiliana?
I think very simply, we're really aiming to make sure that we always bring human first centered support for our expectant families and those going through that postnatal birth recovery, because it's a huge time in your life and you want to know that there's someone there in your corner and that you can turn to. But the technology and the AI is going to help us widen that support accessibility and not replace the human care, but just make sure it's just more widely available.
Covet, what about you and the team?
Well, I mean, for me specifically, I think there are three predominant visions with AI. The first is can we use it more so that it becomes an invisible operating system in our business? You know, can it remove manual load for support, for content, for workflows, so that we can focus on imagination, on micro moments of magic, on strategy, on human connection, on doing more events. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would love to do, which is really that dream, is how we create this personalized growth journey for every single student that comes in that wants to be a coach. And if we could give them the relevant training that matches their goals, behaviors, and needs, I think that would be fantastic. And then as a leadership team, I think we could operate with a lot more radical clarity, which is every single one of us here that's building a community. If we use AI to surface the challenges, like go to it, set it up. I love this. I have this AI project that is literally called the Steve Jobs product project. And I've literally asked it to be Steve Jobs, to learn to surface everything he knows about product creation, assuming that I've labeled him the best product creator. And then I go and tell it everything about my product. And I wanted to surface what Steve would say about it. And then try to use those signals to help me like execute better, move faster, like see the blind spots, learn things that I don't understand, and try to compound what I'm doing there. So this is how I believe that AI could support me as a leader.
That's a really great use of AI. I love that. Thank you all so much for your time and for sharing how you're thinking about AI, how you're using it inside of your communities. We are at time, but I would love for you to share where people can continue to follow you and your work, like the best place online to stay connected with you. Rachel, can you go first for us?
You can find me over at co-creatorsociety.com. Instagram's the same, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. So I spend most of my time on LinkedIn.
Love it. Thank you. Emiliana?
So themindfulbirthgroup.com is our website. I'll pop it in the chat. And also at pregnahub_app on Instagram and TikTok. And you'll find me and my name on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Thank you. Kavit?
You can find the Jay Shetty Certification School at jayshettycoaching.com. Of course, Jay Shetty everywhere on Instagram and all channels, and myself personally on LinkedIn.
Thank you all so much for being here. Really, really appreciate your time, your expertise, and how much you care about what you're building. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So much. Bye,
Awesome.
everyone.
Thank you.